So where's everyone? Anybody outside waiting to come in?
Yeah.
Tell them where we're starting. No, tell them, Marissa. Tell them please tell them where we're starting. Bam bam bim bam 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 bam. Okay, so let's continue. I think we're on 91 or something like that. 91 yesterday. We are 92. Like the last thing that we learned yesterday was that the way you think about God is very, very much related to the way you think about yourself, right? If you see yourself primarily as a very, very earthbound, mundane person, and you don't see that you're created in the image of God, right? Your concept about God is not very high either. But if you understand that Hashem is like truly exalted and beyond, and being that your neshama is a part of Hashem, you also realize that you're connected to that exaltedness, and you have some kind of connection to the Holy of Holies, to the most complete of complete, and that you have a part of that. And then he said that keep in mind that when Hashem spoke to us at Har Sinai, we didn't come to him as crippled, broken, sick people, but rather we were all healed before we heard Hashem's voice. Which means to say that Hashem wants us to relate with him, not just when we need him, because, God forbid, I'm lacking something, but rather as well-rounded, healthy people. And like when we daven the Amidah, we bend the knees at Baruch, we bend our backs at Atah, and when we say Hashem, we're supposed to be upright, right? In other words, Hashem is we bow to God. And we would get down on the ground in the Beis Hamikdash like we still do on Yom Kippur and so on, right? We kneel and prostrate. However, what Hashem wants is, okay, good, you've done that. Now stand up and be the great person that you can be. Right? Stand up and be the great person that you could be, that I want you to be. That's what Yiddishkeit is about. It's about being a complete, whole person.
With this thinking, I was thinking about this. One does not go in despair, and a person wouldn't have an inferiority complex.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, you would be humble, right?
Provided we can integrate all.
Yeah. Okay, so we're on page 92, Mazel Tov. Actually, we're going much faster than the guys next door. Okay. So, אני לא יודע כמה ידוע לכם על קהילת יהודי פולין שלפני מלחמת העולם השנייה. I don't know if you know much about the Jewish communities in Poland before the Second World War. אחד מהרבנים הגדולים והקדושים שחי בלובלין לפני המלחמה היה רבי מאיר שפירא. One of the great rabbis was Rabbi Meir Shapira, who patach sham yeshiva b'shem Yeshivat Chachmei Lublin. He opened a school there, a yeshiva known as Yeshivat Chachmei Lublin. I knew people who studied there, and still do. And the admission requirement, by the way, was you had to know 300, more correctly, 600 pages of Talmud just to get in.
Oh.
It wasn't like there were times that there's still schools in Yerushalayim today also that's like the admission requirement for yeshiva boys. It's quite significant. Huh?
My cousins.
Yeah.
You should like yourself.
Right.
Like that to get in.
Right. Okay, so לישיבתו הוא קיבל את 400 התלמידים הכי מובחרים. He had the 400 top students in Poland מגיל 5 שנים עד גיל 17 שנה, from age 5 to 17. In other words, imagine like these 5-year-old punks who are geniuses, like, sitting there and they're already. When Shlomo was 6 years old, he knew the whole Sefer Yehoshua by heart, and so on. So, can you get the breakfast thing? לצערנו, much to our distress, רק 7 מהם נותחו בחיים אחרי המלחמה. Only 7 of them survived after the war. בזמן פתיחת הישיבה, הרבי של רבי מאיר שפירא, רבינו הקדוש מצ'וצקוב, הגיע לשם. So the Chochkov Rebbe, who was Rabbi Meir Shapiro's Rebbe, was there at the opening. אתם יודעים שלפתוח ישיבה קדושה כזאת זה ממש כמו מעמד הר סיני. Right, to open up such a yeshiva is like being at Mount Sinai. ובכן קרה שם משהו ממש לא יאומן, and something unbelievable happened there. רבי מצ'וצקוב היה בלובלין מיום חמישי עד יום שני. The Chochkov Rebbe was there from Thursday till Sunday. בכל משך זמן שהותו שם לא נפטר אף אחד בכל לובלין הגדולה. And during those days that he was there, nobody died during those days in the entire city. הרוח של אלוקות ומושלמות, the spirit of godliness and wholesomeness and completeness הייתה כל כך גבוהה בעיר, was so intense in the city, כך שאף אחד לא נפטר, that nobody died during those days. Remember, we learned on the previous page that, actually not on the previous page, but a few pages back, where Rav Shlomo was talking about healing of the soul and healing of the body, and that that when the soul is in its proper place of connection, right, the body goes along. The body doesn't interfere with the holy work that you need to be doing. אני בטוח, we're in the middle of 92, אני בטוח שברור לכם שאנחנו לא רק מתים פיזית, אנחנו מתים מיליון פעמים ביום. I'm sure that you realize that we don't just die physically at the end of our lives, we die maybe 1,000,000 times a day, right? הלוואי והיינו מצליחים לרומם את עצמנו לאותם רגעים אחדים. Halavai, if only we would succeed in elevating ourselves to those special moments. Halavai vayinu matzlichim lichyot b'meshech rega echad b'chol yom. And if only if we would be successful in really living even for that one moment a day. Le'ehov mishu b'meshech rega echad b'yom, to really love somebody at least for 1 minute a day. ואני רוצה לברך אתכם ואותי שנהיה מספיק קדושים. And I want to bless you and myself that we should be holy enough in order to be able to transfer that moment to our children. In other words, to share it with our children. The holiness of the moment. People who acquire this aspect of being able to experience a moment of holiness, a moment of real life, they'll always be able to overcome everything.
Is that true?
So, yes, it's true. Rav Steinsaltz talks about this week's parsha, B'Shalach. And as you know, the parsha is full of awesome miracles, the splitting of the sea, the bitter waters that are sweetened, the manna, the slav, the quail, and then it ends up with the war with Amalek. So he says, instead of talking about the parsha from the perspective of all the great miracles, let's talk about the parsha from the perspective of an ordinary, simple Yid who's there at the sea. And what does he see? He experiences all of a sudden like this. We're not talking about somebody like necessarily of higher consciousness. We're talking about a Yid who was a slave, right? Was a slave. He hardly, he knows that he just came out of Mitzrayim. He doesn't really understand what it means to be free. And all of a sudden he sees like, well, what's going on? Look at what's happening with the water. It's splitting. Life is the world is not like I thought it, like I always believed it to be. It's like, what? Things are changing. And then after it's over, the sea goes back to its full normal course, right? Then they come, and what happens? It says right after the Shira, after we finished our singing our song, and it was time to go into the wilderness, it says, Vayasa Moshe et ha'am. And Rashi explains, what does Vayasa mean? It means that he made them start traveling. He had to force us to keep moving. Because a lot of people said, the Egyptians are dead. All this wealth is now in our hands. Why do we have to go into the desert? We can stay here and be the boss over here, so to speak. So he had to drive us to keep going, right? And you just saw this great miracle. Why would he have to drive us? Right? And then we see the next great miracle. And again we complain. And we see the next great miracle. And then again we complain. What is this? How much does it take to stop complaining? How much does it take to stop complaining?
Forever, sometimes.
You should live so long.
We should live so long.
But it wasn't B'nai Israel.
It was also an ordinary Yid, not just, the Arab were bigger troublemakers, but an ordinary Yid, so the point of Steinsaltz is making is that he's teaching you is that, especially for a Jew, seeing great miracles doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to change. And we're a stiff-necked people, and so we don't fall for things that easily. Okay.
The Tov
And the Tov Hara, exactly. Okay. And a person's substantive essence doesn't change by virtue of external stimuli. A great miracle could wake you up to start making changes, but any inner changes that you want to experience, or if you're thinking about, now I'm a different person, it's going to be only as a result of the work that you're doing to make that happen. Right? You can see a great miracle and decide, okay, now I'm going to be a complete Baal Tshuva. If your whole tshuva is going to be dependent on the fact that you saw a miracle, it's not going to last. It's enough to get you started, but the inner changes have to be made by ourselves. And so long as you're dependent on the miracles, first of all, the more miracles you see, the more you begin to think that this is just natural and normal. And you begin to expect them. And in fact, that was one of our problems in the wilderness, is that people were thinking, wait a minute, like, like, why should we should have royal treatment all the way through. We should, God should smooth the journey for us all the way through, just like He split the sea. Everything should happen now in a miraculous way. But that's not what it's about. Hashem says, no, I'm not doing this for you all the time. You need to live your daily, ordinary life as if it's all a miracle, which it is, by the way. So, and with at least the same high consciousness as you have when you see a beautiful miracle. It's like, what do you call it?
Respond to these miracles. There are people.
Yeah.
Like after the 6-day war, there were soldiers who became religious when they saw things.
There are people.
Some did, some didn't.
So the point is that a miracle is enough to get you started, but you have to do the work. Right? Okay. So Shlomo says over here, like, if you can experience real strong life, real, being real and being holy, even if it's only for a minute a day, then you'll be able to go through whatever difficulties that you need to go through, because your anchor point, your reality point, is a strong one. Okay. One of our biggest rabbis was the Or HaMeir, שחי לפני כ-150 שנה. He lived about 150 years ago. היה בין התלמידים הכי גדולים של החוזה מלובלין. He was among the top students of the חוזה of Lublin. גדול מרבן שמו. He was a great rabbi among all the rabbis. ערב אחד הוא נסע בדרך והגיע לקרצ'מה. He was traveling one night and came to an inn, אכסניה. מכיוון שבעל הבית ראה עליו שהוא רב גדול, when the innkeeper saw that, he recognized that this is a great man, page 93, הוא הציע לו את החדר הכי מפואר באכסניה. So he suggested to him, he prepared for him the nicest room in the inn. באותו חדר מפואר היה שעון גדול תלוי על הקיר. There was a nice big clock hanging on the wall. האור המאיר לא הצליח להירדם כל הלילה. And the Rebbe, the Or HaMeir, couldn't fall asleep all night long. הוא הלך הלוך ושוב כל הלילה. He was just pacing back and forth all night long. אתם יודעים, באותם בתים ישנים מעץ, in those old wooden houses, כשאתה מסתובב, when you're walking around, כל הבית מסתובב יחד איתך. The whole house is walking with you. אז בעל הבית המסכן, so the poor innkeeper, גם הוא לא הצליח להירדם, so he couldn't sleep either because of this rabbi walking back and forth. הוא חשב לעצמו, so he thought to himself, חבל על הזמן שלי, so let me not waste any time, אני לפחות אכין קצת תה חם להביא לרב, so I'll get up and prepare some hot tea and bring it to the rabbi. כשהוא הביא את התה, הוא שאל אותו, when he brought him the tea, he asked the rabbi, האם משהו לא בסדר בחדר? Is there something not right? Is there something wrong in the room? למה הרב לא מצליח להירדם? Why is the rabbi not managing to fall asleep? אמר לו הרב, so the rabbi said, no, חלילה וחס, God forbid. החדר ממש טוב, the room is really good. אבל תרשה לי לשאול אותך, but let me ask you, השעון הגדול שתלוי על הקיר, this clock that you have hanging on the wall, האם הוא במקרה שייך למורי לרבי החוזה מלובלין? Does it by any chance belong to my teacher, to the חוזה of Lublin? הבעל הבית ענה, and the innkeeper answered, השעון אכן שייך לו, the watch is actually really his, the clock is his, אבל אל תחשוש שחס ושלום גנבתי אותו, don't think God forbid stole it. what happened was that Beno HaKadosh Shaha Kan b'meshech shvuayim, the Chozeh's son was here for 2 weeks. But he wasn't able to pay his bills, so he gave me this clock as a collateral. אבל אני לא מבין, הוסיף בעל הבית, מה הקשר בין השעון הזה לבין השינה שלך? But the innkeeper says to the rabbi, what's this clock got to do with you're not sleeping? האור המאיר השיב לבעל הבית, דע לך שיש שני סוגי שעונים בעולם. Know that there are 2 different kinds of clocks in the world. רוב השעונים בעולם אומרים לך, most clocks in the world tell you, עוד שעה עברה, another hour has gone by, אתה שומע את זה, you hear that, וחושב לעצמך, and you think, מה כל זה שווה, what's all this worth it? What's all this worth? אני אוותר על הכל ואלך לישון. I'll just forget about everything and I'm going to go to sleep. השעון של החוזר מלבלין לעומת זאת, whereas the clock of the חוזר of Lublin אומר לך, this clock is telling you, התקרבת בעוד שנייה לגאולה. You've moved another step forward to the redemption. התקרבת בעוד שעה לגאולה, you're an hour closer to the redemption. עם שעון כזה, with such a clock, איך אפשר להירדם? How can I fall asleep? Is there a cold wind coming in somewhere? No?
No.
Can hear anything?
No, okay.
Want me to check?
The door is closed, I'm sure. It's okay.
It doesn't have to be-
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It doesn't have to be the clock of the Chozeh. It could be an ordinary person too. It's
Yeah.
not another hour fast, but it's
An hour closer to Mashiach. Right? So in other words, what he's illustrating here in this story is that he's illustrating the issue of perspective, right? What's your perspective? Is your perspective that you're getting closer to the redemption, and therefore, if you have to go through another hurdle, it's okay. We're moving forward closer to the redemption, or is your perspective one of I'm just so connected to the mundane, and it's all about. Sorry, it's all about let me have another slice of pizza. Let's go to the Bahamas before we don't have a chance anymore, or something like that. So, if from that very mundane perspective, every hardship, every obstacle is like a real issue. But if the perspective is we're moving towards the ultimate redemption, so we have to go through another obstacle, so we'll go through another obstacle. Now, it's not just perspective. When we say perspective, it's like, integrating that perspective into your being, integrating it, that this is what I'm going to be like from now on. This is what I'm not going to just, it's not just like, oh, I just saw another miracle. I realized that, yeah, God is God, and things are going to be good. That's wonderful. The only thing is that that's not going to make any substantive change in the way you live and in your perspective. You have to mamish want to do something about it. So if you have like just 1 minute a day where you have like a really beautiful connection, then you know that it's a reality to be able to live that way. And then you can continue and work on it and achieve it.
That's what you call it, anchor point?
You could call it that, yeah.
You
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
anchor point
yeah,
earlier.
yeah. That's your anchor point, yeah. אני רוצה לברך אתכם ואותי וכולנו, I want to bless you and myself and everybody, שנזכה לשעונים אחרים, that we should merit to have other clocks. אנחנו ממש צריכים שעונים אחרים, we need a different kind of clock, סוג אחר של זמן, a different concept of time. האם ראיתם איך אנשים לפעמים הולכים לישון? Have you ever seen how people go to sleep? Page 94. הם כל כך עצובים כי הם יודעים שעוד יום עבר. They're so sad because they know that another day has gone by and what did I do today? Right?
Does this say Siddur on the bottom?
It does.
Is that a Siddur?
Someone that came to a retreat at the facility where I worked has this thing called the Open Siddur Project. It's like a Siddur that's online.
That's in America.
Yeah.
Siddur. Never heard of it.
It's super cool. We just started it recently. But it's just like a Siddur that's available online.
Okay.
You know, we put this 2 years ago and last year. And today is the first time that I've integrated all this stuff.
That's why repetition, chazorah, is so important. Yeah. Especially when you're reading something like, like this kind of material is so different from the way we were educated to think. So, הקדוש ברוך הוא בירך אותי ברחמיו המרובים בשתי ילדות קטנות, אחת בת 3 ואחת בת 6. So this gives us an idea of when this talk was given, and this we're talking about like the early 70s. דעו לכם שהדבר הכי חשוב וקדוש לי, I want you to know that the most important and holy moment of my time, of my life, הוא להשכיב את הילדות שלי לישון, is when I put my children to bed at night. Give them a book. Page 94. כשילדים הולכים לישון, הם יודעים בדיוק אם אתה משכיב אותם ברמה של פחות יום או עוד יום עבר, או אם אתה משכיב אותם ואומר להם, התקרבת בעוד יום, מחר תהיה יותר קרוב. When you put children to bed at night, they know whether you're putting them to bed with the attitude of, well, another day is gone, or you're putting them with the attitude of, we're another day closer to the redemption. And tomorrow will be even better. כי אז הם ירצו לישון ממש מהר כדי לקום למחרת ולחיות אפילו יותר עמוק. Because then they're going to really want to sleep fast so that they can get up early and live another day more deeply. ואתם יודעים רבותיי, you see where we are? ואתם יודעים רבותיי, אפשר להגיע כל כך גבוה וכל כך עמוק עם שמחה. You can reach so high and so deep with joy. רבינו הקדוש רבי נחמן מברסלב מסביר שכל דבר שאנחנו רואים בעולם הזה הוא כתוצאה מהיותו בשמיים גם כן. Nachman teaches that everything that we experience in this world is the result of something like that happening in heaven. אם מישהו מתקשר אליך בטלפון, ובוכה ומתחנן שהמצב שלו ממש לא טוב, הוא צריך $100. If somebody calls you on the phone and he's crying and he's begging you and he's saying he's in dire straits and he needs $100, אתה אומר לו, you say to him, תראה, אני אוהב אותך, I love you, אני אתן לך את הכסף, I'm going to give you the money. And then לאחר 5 דקות הוא מתקשר שוב, 5 minutes later he calls again, בוכה כמו כלב, crying like a dog. טעיתי בחשבון, I made a mistake in my additions, אני באמת צריך $200, I really need $200. אתה כבר מתעצבן קצת, so you're already getting a little bit upset with the guy. אתה חושב שכבר לא כדאי לענות עוד לטלפון, and you think that it's not such a good idea to answer the next phone call, right? It might be 300, right? לאחר שעתיים הוא מתקשר שוב בבכייה, and 2 hours later he calls again crying, תשמע, שכחתי להכניס בחשבון את המיסים, I forgot to add in that I gotta pay my taxes. אני באמת צריך $500, I really need $500. הפעם אתה כבר מוציא את הטלפון מהשקל ומחליף מספר טלפון. At this point you take the phone out, you unplug the phone from the wall and you change your phone number, right? אבל, however, אם מישהו מתקשר אליך ממש בשמחה עצומה, but if somebody calls you and they're ממש like really happy, ואומר לך, אני says to you, תקשיב לי, יש לי משהו שתוכל לעשות כדי להציל את החיים שלי, I got something that you could do to save my life. שלך ושל כל העולם כולו, and you could save your life in the whole world, תוכל לעשות את הדבר הכי גדול בעולם, then because the guy is talking to you with joy, you'll be able to do everything in the world. תוכל לעשות לי, you'll be able to do anything, תוכל לעשות לי טובה גדולה. אתה אומר לו, למה לא? Your response is going to be, why not? איך אני יכול לעזור לך? How can I help you? והוא עונה, אם אולי תוכל למצוא לי איזה 100 תפוחים קדושים, can you get me 100 holy apples? לאחר שעתיים, 2 hours later, הוא מתקשר שוב, and he says, תשמע, אני לא יודע למה, אבל המזל שלך, he says, I don't know why, but you're very lucky. Your muzzle is mamash meir hayom. Your muzzle is mamash shining today. HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'rachamav harabim, God in His great compassion, natan lecha hizamnut latet li 200 tepuchim. God is giving me an opportunity to give me 200 apples. זה כבר משהו אחר. That's already makes it different, right? איתו אתה מרגיש ממש שונה. With this guy, you feel different. You don't feel like the other guy is like the first guy who's like just being nudgy, right?
First guy is asking for money.
When Shlomo said 100 apples, he's talking about money.
And matzahs.
And matzahs, okay? So they're both asking for the same thing, but the difference is in how they're asking.
Not the word for house, it does.
Right? Okay.
It shouldn't be that way, should it?
Huh?
It shouldn't be that way.
It is that way. What do you mean it shouldn't be that way? It is that way. Now, that's the whole point. That's the whole point, is that it's the perspective of like, is another day gone and lost, or is another day a whole bunch of new opportunities coming closer to the redemption?
No, I'm talking about what we just learned. That if the person needs money, whether he is crying or whether he is a simcha, we should give it to him. We should do it.
Right, but the point is that if your attitude is that you're conscious of your being a divine spark, that your neshama is a part of Hashem, right? So that consciousness makes you want to. I can help you even more. I want to help you even more. I can help you even more. I want to do it. I want to do that too. Yes.
You just reminded me that the stories in Holy Brother that Shlomo would borrow money from somebody's guy to make an operation. So if he didn't have money, he'd borrow money. So once he gave me a check to deliver to somebody. It was $2,000, $3,000, something like that. I went to the guy in Flatbush, and he said, "Oh, thanks a lot," And he took it, but it was like, "Oh yeah," and meaning that like he maybe I don't know what, but it was the easiest thing in the world for him to give it and to receive it back, you know. And he was probably a regular of Shlomo's, you know.
What are you thinking?
What did they say?
No, I say, what did you want to say?
Oh, I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah. Okay, so in the square of Besmedbush in Montreal, I remember they would go over to somebody and say, "We're honoring you to sweep the floor."
Yeah. I heard in Europe they would fight over the in base of Medrash.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's in other words like, "Oh, can you please help me and sweep the floor?" Or, you know, "We would like to give you the honor of sweeping the floor."
It's not funny.
Wasn't
Was
that
that
one
what
of
you
the
said?
video
Yeah.
with this
It's
It's
one?
real.
absolutely real.
Of
It
course,
was real.
Because to give is to get.
of course. No, we're
An
talking.
opportunity to give is an opportunity to get.
No, that's right, but it was, of course, it's for real.
Didn't some Rebbe sweep the floor with his beard or something? Never heard that one.
No,
Maybe like a really long beard and he would walk around.
it sounds like a children's story.
Well, I didn't hear these
I know
types of
sometimes I go to my
stories in the
grandchildren and I say, "I'm going to paint your face." You know?
show.
Anyway. Okay, so he says, right? It's mamish, you got to be besimcha. Rabbeinu Kadosh Rabbi Nachman Masbir, Rabbi Nachman explains, שאנחנו מרגישים ככה, כי הקדוש ברוך הוא גם מרגיש אותו דבר. That when you feel this way, God feels this way too. אם אתה בא לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא, בבכייה, if you're coming to God crying, תשמע, אני לא יודע למה בראת אותי בכלל, I don't know why you created me, אבל עכשיו נבראתי, but you've created me, והמצב ממש לא טוב, and the situation is really no good. אז הקדוש ברוך הוא אומר, so God says to him, אני מאוד מודה לך על היחס, I really thank you for having a relationship with me. אני אתן לך מה שאתה צריך, מה שאתה רוצה, I'll give you what you want. But do me a favor, רק אל תפריע לי שוב, please don't come bothering me again. ואז אתה שוב מפריע לו, then you bother God again. והוא אומר, אוי ויי, הוא שוב בא, here he comes again. אך כשאתה בא לפניו בשמחה עצומה, when you come to God with great joy, then כל שערי שמיים נפתחים, all the gates of heaven are open.
That's not very nice of God. If a person is overwhelmed by life and comes crying, help me, God says, here, I'll give you now, but don't bother me anymore.
Rav Shlomo is being a little bit hyperbolic.
Probably the first time.
And what he's basically saying is that, who do you think God is? Some kind of an ogre who doesn't want to help you? That's why you have to think that you have to come crying, please give me, please give me. It's like, how are you making God feel? It's the same way that when somebody comes and asks you for a favor, and like they're just coming and crying and like, you know, look at me, poor me, I'm such a mess, and I'm this and I'm that. And Hashem, you know, like we're going back to the point when Hashem gave us the Torah, everybody was whole, everybody was complete. Hashem is saying, stop being a schlepper. That's what Hashem is saying. You know, don't relate with me only when you're in your schlepper mode. Stand up. Walk. Take responsibility for what you're doing. Right?
That's not what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about.
We're talking
About besimcha. I'm happy that you're my God. I'm happy that for what I trust that what you've given me is for my good. And I need some more of this. I need some more of that. But because I want to do your work in this world. I want to accomplish what I need to accomplish in this world. So I need parnasa. And because I'm happy to do what you want me to do. So God says, oh, good, you want to build a yeshiva, great. How much you need? $5 million. Okay, here you go.
And he does.
Right?
And it works.
Yeah.
No.
So רבותיי, אנחנו ממש צריכים אנשים שיפתחו לנו את שערי שמיים. We need people who will open the gates of heaven for us. ותרשו לי לספר לכם עוד סיפור אחד קטן. Let me share with you one more small story. פעם אחת היה ילד שחלה מאוד, there was a kid who was very sick once. אביו בא לפני הבעל שם טוב הקדוש וסיפר לו על ילדו החולה. And his father came to the Baal Shem and told him about his son who's so sick. הבעל שם טוב היה כל כך קדוש שהוא לא רק הכיר את כל היהודים הקדושים, הוא הכיר גם את כל הגנבים. הבעל שם טוב was so holy, he also knew not only all the holy Jews, he knew all the thieves as well. הוא אמר לאבי הילד לחכות והלך וחזר עם עניין גנבים. So he told the father of the kid, wait, and he went and he gathered a minion of thieves. הם אמרו תהילים ביחד, they all said תהילים together, וכעבור זמן קצר הילד הבריא, and a little while later the kid was well. למחרת, so then the next day, כל התלמידים הקדושים של הבעל שם טוב שאלו אותו, they asked the בעל שם טוב, אם רצית מניין אנשים שאמרו תהילים, if you wanted a minion of people to say תהילים for this child, למה היית צריך להביא גנבים? Why did you have to bring thieves? האם חסרים כאן אנשים הגונים? Is there a shortage of decent people here? שיאמרו איתך פרקי תהילים, that would say תהילים with you. ענה עליהם הבעל שם טוב, לבעל שם טוב, turn to them, page 96. אמר, and he said, האם אינכם מבינים? Don't you understand? כל שערי שמיים היו נעולים, all the gates of heaven were locked. הייתי צריך 10 גנבים שיתפרצו לי את השערים. I needed 10 thieves that would break open the gates. ובכן אני מברך אתכם ואותי שכולנו נהיה גנבים קדושים שלום. So I bless you and me that we should be holy thieves.
Amen.
So what does that mean? Right? What does it mean?
The story,
Yeah.
just like you never know. You just never know who is who.
Yeah, but these guys were actually thieves.
Well, isn't it that beautiful? There's this beautiful teaching about the Ketoret, right? That there's like,
One of the spices is
yeah,
What
and
spices
it's not
is what?
complete.
chelben. It didn't smell good. Okay, so Baal Shem Tov, so what he's saying over here is like this. He's saying that the gates of heaven were locked and needed somebody who knows how to break in. Okay. So that means to say that if you were among those who were fortunate or unfortunate to be in a gang of thieves, and now you've got these skills, right? So it's time to use the skills in a good way, right? Does the thief say, oh, the door is locked, I'm not going in? He says, no, I'm going in, right? Does a Yid say, oh, I've got an obstacle in front of me, I'm not going forward? I'm going forward. Have to figure out how to do it? Okay, we'll figure it out. And more in the context of what we've been reading. So it's 24 hours a day, 23 hours and 59 minutes. I was living not very connected, but I managed to live 1 minute really connected. I'm gonna find a way to make it 2 minutes. I'm gonna find a way to make it 5 minutes. I'm gonna find a way to make it an hour. I'm gonna find a way to do it. I'm gonna move forward, right? going back to the Parsha again, miracles are not meant to change you. Miracles are meant to show you the possibilities, so that you can say, "Ah, I'm moving forward, and I see where I can go. I see that that I don't have to get stuck and think that nothing can change in this world, and that when there's an obstacle in front of me, I just get stuck forever. It's like there's quite a bit of traffic over here, and and there are days of the times of the day when it's hard to there's a lot of traffic, and it takes a while to get to your destination. But I seem to have noticed, I don't know if this is true or not, but traffic jams over here get undone faster than I've noticed in Chutz La'aretz.
Maybe because it's smaller.
Huh?
Maybe that's smaller. Maybe it's something else.
It's smaller, but it's like there's this culture over here of like, so we're stuck, but hey, you move that way, you move that way, let's get going.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, that's really true.
But I've seen in Chutz La'aretz,
Everybody just waits there.
there's a jam, and everybody just
Sits there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, nobody actually does anything.
People take charge here.
Yeah.
In a whole different way.
Right.
Of course, we're home. And we're
We
family.
say that, but that's also true. But what I'm saying is that this attitude of, okay, so there's an obstacle, so good, figure it out.
That's what we're about.
Understand?
You're saying
And
we're like
the
a gang
Rebbe
of thieves
Rashab-
here?
Huh?
You're saying we're like a gang of thieves?
In a certain, you got to be holy thieves. That's right. And it's the Rebbe Marash used to always say that the Katzchila River obstacles are meant to inspire you to go higher.
Yeah.
That should be your first goal, is to go higher rather than go around it. In other words, jump higher. Jump higher. What do you can't? So there's a beautiful story in that book, Hasidic Tales of the Holocaust. And the story is that, did you ever meet the Chiner in New York?
I didn't meet him.
We saw Shapira. So he was around 50 years old in Bergen-Belsen, and one of the people in his barracks was a non-religious Jew that they had become good friends. And it was Yom Kippur, and the Nazis in Machshamam had everybody digging. They had them dig a huge trench, very wide trench. And then they said, we know that it's Yom Kippur, it's your day of judgment, whether you're going to be in the book of life or not. So now everybody line up and jump across this trench. If you're in the book of life, you'll make it across. If you're not, you're not. They were so cruel. So this grandmother says to the Rebbe, he says, we're not going to make it. We're too old, we're too weak. The Rebbe said, if Hashem wants us to live, we're going to make it. So the Rebbe was in front of this man in line, and it was time for him to take the jump. And he mumbled a couple of words as he was running towards the trench, picked his hand up to the sky, jumped, and he made it across. His friend, the grandmother, who came after him, went ahead and he ran, he picked up his hand to the sky, and he made it across. In the evening, they're talking, so this grandmother says to the Rebbe, he said, how did you do it? So he says, I prayed and I visualized all my ancestors, my holy ancestors, reaching down from heaven, and I grabbed onto their hands and I made it across. So then the Rebbe says to Rav Remele, he's like a non-believer, and these things, how did you get across? She says, for me it was easy, I was holding on to you. Right. So, Baruch Hashem, it was a good lesson, this Leman Achai V'Re'ai, right? And we should learn it another 101 times, right?
Amen.
Have a good Shabbos. We're
Shabbos,
having
Shabbos.
Shabbos Shabbos.
Yeah.
You're in town for Shabbos?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you when you see Shabbos.
Awesome.
You set up for Shabbos?